Imagine this. She's sitting with her friends. The room is loud, the conversation chaotic. But in her head, there's only one voice. Yours. She checks her phone, not because it buzzed, but because she wants it to. Wants to see your name. Wants to feel that pulse of dopamine hit her chest when she sees you on the screen. She's not obsessed because you gave her gifts. She's not obsessed because you complimented her. She's obsessed because you planted a seed in her mind. And now, it's growing, spreading through her thoughts like wildfire. And here's the truth no one's telling you. Attraction isn't about chasing. It's about impact. And when you do this right, she won't just want you. She'll crave you. Most guys are taught to believe that you need to be more available, more kind, more accommodating. And sure, that might work if you want to be just another guy she forgets. But if you want to be unforgettable, if you want her to think about you when she wakes up, when she showers, when she stares at the ceiling at night, then you need to understand how to hook her emotionally and psychologically. This is the game beneath the surface. It's what Neil Strauss called inner game. It's what makes a man magnetic without saying a word. It's what makes her ask herself, why can't I stop thinking about him? You see, women aren't attracted to what's obvious. They're drawn to what's mysterious, to what makes them feel something they can't explain. The more logic you apply to attraction, the more you lose her. Because what makes her obsess isn't rational. It's emotional, subconscious. It's the spike of uncertainty she feels when you don't instantly text back. The tension in the silence after you look at her and smirk, like you know something she doesn't. That's what creates addiction. That's what burns your presence into her memory. And the method I'm about to break down for you? It's been tested in clubs, cafes, through texts, in long-term relationships. It works because it's based on how the female mind actually works, not how society tells you to behave. What I'm giving you here isn't a gimmick. It's a shift in how you carry yourself, how you engage her senses, and how you withhold just enough to pull her deeper into your orbit. Let's start with the foundation. The part most men never master: emotional stimulation. Women don't chase what they understand, they chase what makes them feel. If you can create emotional spikes, moments where her body and mind go into a state of alert, fascination, curiosity, desire, you become a drug, one she won't even realize she's addicted to. You do this by being unpredictable, not flaky, not erratic, but emotionally dynamic. You create contrast, like a good movie that makes you laugh, then hits you with a heavy moment, then surprises you with something bold. That's the kind of interaction that gets replayed in her mind. And if you've ever read The Game, you'll remember how mystery used this to create intrigue. Negs, push-pull, non-linear responses. Why? Because they make her brain work. They force her to interpret, decode, analyze. That's the hook. That's the trick. But if you just tell her how beautiful she is over and over again, guess what? Her brain files you in the predictable folder. That folder doesn't get opened twice. Now I want you to think about something. Think of the guy she can't forget. He wasn't necessarily the most handsome. He wasn't always the richest. But he made her feel alive. He gave her butterflies. He got under her skin. That's what we're aiming for. And here's the key to that impact: presence. When you're fully present, not on your phone, not distracted, not trying too hard, but right there, watching her, listening with intention, she feels it. That energy is rare. Most guys are thinking about what to say next. But when you're locked in, totally grounded, calm, controlled, you flip a switch inside her. Presence makes her feel seen. And every woman is dying to be seen, not just looked at, truly seen. When you give her that and then pull it away, she starts chasing the high again. But you need to earn the right to pull away. Which is why the second part of the method is tension, not drama, tension. Tension is that electric space between what's happening and what could happen. It's the pause before a kiss, the moment after a compliment where you don't smile, you just hold eye contact. It's letting silence hang in the air confidently. Because here's the truth: silence scares insecure men, but it arouses confident women. A man who can handle silence is dangerous because he's in control. He's not rushing to fill the space. He's not trying to win her. He knows he is the prize, and she starts to feel it too. And the more comfortable you are with silence, the more space you create for her imagination to run wild. When a woman starts imagining you, game over. Her mind fills in the blanks. She starts thinking, what's he thinking? What's he feeling? Why does he look at me that way? And that loop of questions becomes an obsession. Let me give you a quick example. You're talking to her and you say something that makes her laugh. She touches your arm. The moment is good, but instead of doubling down, instead of chasing more validation, you pause. You just look at her. Hold that look. Not needy, not smiling, just holding that quiet tension. That moment stays in her body. Later, when she's lying in bed, she's going to remember the way you looked at her and wonder what it meant. That's how you get in her head. And if you think that sounds too subtle, that's because you've been trained to think attraction is about action, when in reality, it's about energy. Attraction lives in the micro moments, the pause, the tease, the slight lean in, the withdrawal. These aren't accidents. They're strategic. They're what makes her feel like something is happening, even if no words are being spoken. And when you do this consistently, she won't just think about you, she'll dream about you. Because the method doesn't stop at tension. Tension opens the door, but what keeps her hooked, what keeps you living rent-free in her mind, is contrast. You show her different sides of you, not all at once, but layer by layer, slowly, intentionally. You make her feel like she's constantly discovering you, and that discovery becomes addictive. Most men reveal everything in the first few days. They spill their stories, their thoughts, their compliments, trying to impress. But a man who can hold something back, a man who can let her wonder, becomes mysterious. And mystery is the beginning of desire. She should never feel like she's fully figured you out. Because the moment she does, her interest plateaus. That's the point where she starts losing emotional investment. But if you're always revealing something just a little unexpected, an opinion she didn't see coming, a story that hints at something deeper, a shift in tone that makes her feel something new, then she stays alert, engaged, drawn in. This is psychological foreplay. It's not about being fake, it's about pacing, timing, knowing what not to say, letting her imagination do the work. That's how you trigger intrusive thoughts, the kind that pop into her mind when she's brushing her teeth or scrolling Instagram. The kind that loop and repeat because they're emotionally unresolved. You create emotional cliffhangers. That means when you end a conversation, you don't give her a sense of closure. You leave it open, slightly incomplete, like there's more to discover, and only she has the key to it. That makes her come back. That makes her lean in. Let me show you how it works in real time. You're texting her, things are flowing. But instead of dragging the convo out until it dies, you end it right when it's peaking. All right, I have to go, but that's a story for another time. Boom. Now her brain is stuck on what story? Why'd he pull away? Is he doing that on purpose? Yes, you are. Because you understand this. Anticipation is more powerful than the event itself. Every great seducer knows this. Casanova, Mystery, even Don Juan. They weren't chasing women. They were creating experiences, internally, in her own head. And the guy who knows how to play with her imagination always beats the guy who just dumps attention on her. Now, another key part of this method is identity projection. Women don't just fall for what a man says, they fall for what he represents. She needs to feel that being around you makes her more feminine, more desired, more alive. You become a mirror for the version of herself she wants to step into. But here's the kicker. It's not about trying to be impressive. It's about embodying a strong, grounded identity, one that doesn't shift based on her reactions. Because when a woman senses that you're unshakable, that her approval doesn't make or break you, she starts projecting value onto you. That's why a man who lives by his own code, his own values, is instantly more attractive. He doesn't ask for validation. He doesn't need permission. He moves with certainty, even if he says very little. This is where dominance without aggression comes in. You don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to overpower. True masculine dominance is in the subtle details, the way you take up space, the calmness in your body, the depth in your eye contact. You command without trying. And the more you stay rooted in that, the more she feels the contrast between your masculine polarity and her feminine energy. That tension between opposites, that's what creates the pull. Remember, a woman doesn't want to lead the attraction, she wants to respond to it. But if you're always reacting, always adjusting based on her moods or signals, then she's the one setting the emotional tone. That kills the polarity. Instead, you set the tone. You choose when to escalate. You choose when to pause. You control the rhythm of the interaction like a musician controls the beat. Sometimes fast, sometimes slow, but always intentional. That rhythm is what creates the dance. And when the dance is well led, she never wants to stop. And speaking of rhythm, there's another overlooked layer that makes a woman think about you constantly. Emotional triggers tied to novelty. Let me explain. Our brains are wired to remember things that break patterns. So when you do something unexpected, not random but surprising, it hits deeper. It makes the brain flag it as significant. And anything significant gets replayed. So imagine this. Most guys will take her to dinner and try to impress. You, on the other hand, bring her to an old bookstore, hand her a book without saying a word, and just nod like, "This made me think of you." No explanation, just the act. It's small, but powerful. Because now, every time she sees that book, you're in her mind. That's what you're aiming for. Small, symbolic moments that anchor you to her memory. And once she has those anchors, she can't help it. You become part of her inner world. You're not just a man she met, you're a story. And stories are how women fall in love. Because what really locks you into her psyche isn't just how you show up in the moment. It's how you linger after the moment is over. There's a psychological phenomenon known as the Zeigarnik effect. It basically says that people remember unfinished experiences more than completed ones. That's why cliffhangers work in movies. That's why a text that says, "Remind me to tell you what happened with that guy at the cafe," grabs attention more than a full story ever could. Apply that to your interactions. Give her moments that don't resolve, moments that make her feel something. Then pause, disappear, leave a gap. You create a tension loop, and her brain instinctively wants to close it. But she can't, because you didn't hand her the conclusion. Now she's thinking. And that thinking turns into obsession. This doesn't mean playing games or being manipulative. It means understanding the architecture of memory and desire. You don't win her heart by overwhelming her with your presence. You win it by echoing in her mind when you're not there. A powerful man understands that silence can speak louder than words. Distance can intensify desire more than proximity ever could. That's why sometimes you pull back right after a high point, not to punish or confuse her, but to let the emotional moment expand in her body. Give her time to replay it. Let it sink in. And when she sees you again, that anticipation explodes into a stronger emotional connection. Women don't crave consistency. They crave depth. They crave contrast. And the next layer you must master is the art of personal unpredictability. You want to be reliable in your energy, grounded, masculine, calm, but unpredictable in your behavior. That means she never knows exactly what you'll do next, but she always knows it'll feel good. That mix of safety and surprise, that's addictive. So one day you're playful and teasing. The next you're quiet, intense, mysterious. One moment you're all in, the next you're distracted by your purpose. She can never quite label you. And that not knowing keeps her emotionally hooked. But you can't fake this. It has to come from an authentic place. You have to be a man with layers, a man who's constantly evolving, a man who's more focused on his mission than on proving anything to her. That self-possession is what creates the aura. And if you want her to feel that pull even more powerfully, you need to embody something most men avoid: selective attention. Here's what I mean. Give her the gift of your full focus. Occasionally. Not all the time. Not constantly. But in doses that are so pure, so rare, they become unforgettable. Most guys think they need to be available 24/7. They respond instantly. They send good morning texts every day. But that routine becomes noise. You're a signal. When you focus on her, when you give her a moment of complete presence, no phone, no distraction, just your full masculine energy locked onto her. She feels it, deeply. And when that moment ends, she misses it. She waits for the next one. You condition her to crave your attention like oxygen. And here's the twist. The less you give, the more it means when you do. It's not about quantity. It's about intensity, emotional sharpness. And that only comes when you're not desperate to connect, but powerful enough to let space speak for you. Another layer that makes this method even more potent is controlled vulnerability. Now, this doesn't mean dumping your feelings or showing weakness. It means knowing when to reveal a crack in the armor, intentionally. Maybe it's a story from your past that shaped your edge. Maybe it's a truth you don't share often, but when you do, it's raw and real. You let her see that behind the confidence, behind the playful control, there's a man who's been through fire. That kind of openness, delivered once you've already established dominance, melts resistance, because it tells her you trust her. And that trust, coming from a strong man, feels like a reward. It creates emotional intimacy. And once that intimacy is there, even if unspoken, she's not just thinking about you physically, she's bonded to you psychologically. That's when you start showing up in her dreams, in her daydreams, in her thoughts when she hears a song, or smells a scent, or passes a place you once stood. She associates you with emotion. And emotion is the stickiest form of memory. One more piece of the puzzle: nonverbal imprinting. Words are limited. Everyone can speak, but very few men can communicate without speaking and still leave a mark. Your body language, your eye contact, your smirk, your stillness. These things create a sensory map in her mind. They bypass logic and speak directly to her instincts. When you enter a room and you're calm, present, unapologetically masculine, or even without saying a word, you're already speaking to her subconscious. When you walk past her and your hand brushes hers for just a second too long, you're imprinting. When you whisper something in her ear but let your breath linger against her neck before pulling away, you're anchoring a moment in her nervous system. These are the things that make her replay you in her mind like a favorite scene in a film. Not because of what you said, but because of how you made her feel. And once she starts feeling those moments without your presence, that's when you know the method is working. There's another dimension few men tap into, and it's one of the most powerful psychological levers of all: emotional mirroring. Not mimicking her words or body language. I'm talking about mirroring her emotional energy, then guiding it where you want it to go. Let me explain. When a woman is drawn to you, she's subconsciously testing, can he read me? Can he feel what I'm feeling without me saying a word? Can he lead my state without controlling it? If the answer is yes, she feels safe. Not in a boring, predictable way, but in a way that excites her nervous system. You become the man who can meet her emotionally, then elevate her. That's where seduction becomes art. So when she's playful, you play. When she's soft, you drop your tone. When she's intense, you meet her with calm, dominant presence. You're the container, not the chaos. You don't let her emotions dictate yours. You hold space for hers without flinching. That level of emotional mastery is magnetic. It's not something you say, it's something she feels. She might not even understand why she feels safer with you, more alive with you, but she'll feel it in her body, and the body never lies. Most men try to fix emotions. They try to steer everything toward logic. But women don't want their feelings to be solved. They want them to be understood. If you can do that, if you can sit with her emotions without rushing them, you become rare. And rarity, brother, is what keeps you stuck in her thoughts. Now let's touch on something even deeper: symbolic impact. A truly unforgettable man doesn't just exist in her reality. He represents something. He becomes a symbol of a feeling, a chapter, a part of herself she awakens only with him. And here's how you create that. You tie moments to meaning. You make certain moments feel bigger than they are. Not by saying they are, but by acting like they are. The way you pause before touching her hand. The way you look at her like you're seeing past her smile, right into her soul. The way you say something quietly, but with weight, and then just stop talking. Now that moment becomes etched in her memory. Because it's not just what happened. It's how it happened. The feeling it gave her. Do that enough times, and you're not just a guy she's talking to. You become a portal to an emotion she doesn't feel with anyone else. That emotion is what she chases. And if you really want to go elite level, you start controlling the emotional contrast of your interactions. You create light and shadow, serious and playful, warm and cool. Each time she thinks she has you figured out, you show her a new angle. One day she laughs with you like she's known you for years. The next, she feels this raw intensity in your gaze that makes her forget how to speak. Then maybe you disappear for a bit. Not as a trick, but because you're actually busy, living your life, being in your purpose. That's when she starts missing you. And not just your presence, but the experience of you. Because by then, you're not just a person. You're a feeling, a pattern of highs and lows, of emotional depth and playful spark. And no other man she meets is giving her that. That's how obsession starts. That's how you become a reference point and the man she compares others to without even realizing it. And the final layer for now is disruption of expectation. This means showing up in ways that break her assumptions, in subtle, intelligent ways. Because every woman, consciously or not, has seen the patterns. She's seen men behave in predictable ways. But when you move outside that script, when your energy, words, and actions don't fit the mold, she can't categorize you. That makes her curious. And curiosity, when mixed with desire, becomes compulsion. So maybe when she expects you to compliment her, you tease her with a playful challenge instead. Maybe when she assumes you'll chase, you pause and shift focus to something else. Your goals, your craft, your silence. Maybe when the moment feels romantic, you lean in, then whisper something unexpected that makes her laugh instead of melt. Each time she thinks you're going one direction and you pivot smoothly, you create a new neurological pathway. One that says, "This man is different." And once that belief is locked in, you've already won. Because now it's not just you she's thinking about. It's the experience of being around you, the mystery, the edge, the presence, the moments of stillness, the magnetic pull of your masculine calm. All of it blends into one thing, a lasting emotional imprint. And once a woman feels that, she doesn't want it to stop. And now you understand the real reason she can't stop thinking about you. It's not luck, it's not looks, it's not status. It's the way you make her feel, without even needing to touch her. It's how you stay in her mind by creating emotional contrast, tension, curiosity, and symbolic impact. It's how you disrupt her expectations, mirror her emotions, and lead her into a space where she feels alive, seen, and magnetically pulled toward your presence. That's not something she forgets. That's not something she replaces. That's something she remembers, over and over again, even when she doesn't want to. And if you want more insights like this, if you're tired of surface-level advice and ready to tap into the real psychological triggers that drive deep attraction, then this is your space. Drop a comment below and tell me. What part of this resonated with you most? What have you experienced that proves this to be true? Make sure you subscribe, because what's coming next will take everything you just learned and push it to a level no one else is teaching. And if this helped you, share it. Send it to a friend who needs to wake up and step into his power. Because when more men learn how to truly attract, not just women, but respect, opportunities, and self-mastery, we all rise. Now go out there and leave your mark on her mind. She won't even know why, but she won't be able to forget you.